whole point. That's why I've got a fridge running on CFCs.
Not quite how it works, but sure.
It is in our house. I encourage other people to do it as well. I buy them stuff made of plastic. Kind of say just throw it wherever you want, in the sea preferably, if not in a drain.
All this food that they made the packaging removed for, it's a shame now, isn't it?
Oh.
All this loose fruit that's been handled by COVID people.
Oh, have you been washing? It's really weird when you feel like a right knobhead washing like fruit skin and stuff.
No, I don't give a monkey.
I actually saw a video today of how I assumed you would eat an archie. Sorry, you don't call it an archie. You call it a clementine.
Oh, is this the doctor eating with the peel on?
They've got the hang of it. They've got the hang of it in chat. As soon as they could hear us, straight on it.
Straight on, already laughing along.
They hate this bit.
It's only taken them 4 5
They say we hate this bit.
they hate this bit, so they're saying straight away, so we change it.
We like it.
Tony's in here mixing, James is in, Cuz, Painey, the Fairchild, Lynn,
Tony,
Pile,
Jibby,
Jibster, Hawley.
I was going to say the Jibster. It's literally right there, tip of my tongue.
Keegan,
Gareth Martin, perfect last name. Perfect.
Parkinson,
Slasher,
Jeffster. Okay, let's roll intro.
Look at that. That was exactly 9 o'clock.
Hey!
You've come on during the credits.
Yes, that was amazing.
Good.
That was seamless TV. Seamless TV. Welcome to the new Ohm Show, episode 22. Thank you for joining us. Good to see all of your smiling faces in chat. We have a very special guest this week.
Thanks, man.
Not you, John. You're here every week. You are special.
I know.
With 2 THs.
Yeah. And Brad's here as well, and John's here. But we do have special guest Dimitri, the Vaping Greek, Advocacy Supremo, Master Designer with innokin, and of course Phil. And he's got some new stuff, so we will be looking at that stuff as well.
You didn't even mention he was the manager of a strippers outfit as well. It's good.
You can say all the accolades that you want from me. Until I achieve the same hair as John, I have done nothing in my life. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, my hair is like, I feel so embarrassed being, like on the opposite spectrum of this beauty specimen right here. It's just unbelievable.
He's a very handsome man.
But
doesn't he know it now? Doesn't he know it? Yes, so that's what's coming up. We've got Dimitri, so there's loads to talk about.
Thanks for having me, by the way, guys.
No worries.
Thanks for coming on.
A pleasure. We've talked about having you on so many times, never got around to it. But now we're all in lockdown. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, isn't it beauty? That's the beauty, though. I mean, I think that all these vape shows and Facebook live streams that guys are doing on more regular basis now, it's really helping people that are staying at home. I think it's drawing more people. I think it's drawing the community a little bit closer. I mean, the drama is always, there, obviously, but I think as general, it kind of reminds me of the early days of vaping back in 2010. We didn't have vape shops, we didn't have vape shows. Everything that we interacted was through Stickcam. You remember Stickcam, which was great for boobies and for vaping, right? So that online aspect community of vaping is what kind of built this entire industry, and it kind of feels like we're going a little bit back to that. And it's been very enjoyable to get to spend some time and talk to people because usually running busy lives. Me, I travel a lot, so it's been fun. Yesterday, I was on a Greek YouTube show with Vape Like Geek, a YouTuber from. I mean, it's just been fun. Last week we were on with One Shot Media in France. It's just interacting and exchanging ideas and having discussions, and I think it's keeping people sane.
I think it's definitely that. Definitely keeping people. We've had loads of people thanking us for coming on because we didn't even know what to do. The first week before we knew we were in lockdown, we didn't know. Well, how the hell what are we going to do for content and what are we going to do? And I remember having a discussion between us privately, and I said, we just do the show. We do it every single Thursday because people want to watch it, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's great to break out of the vaping as well. I think a lot of people are interested to know about people's personal lives and how you're dealing with this and how you cope. And it shouldn't be just all look shiny, shiny, shiny new stuff.
Yeah.
It should be about the personalities and a lot of people forget that when they see some guy on YouTube showing a product that they actually have a real life that goes with it. You have kids, you have family, you know, you have other interests in your life, and I think it draws the audience a little bit closer to you as well too. And then also what it does, it kind of, this is very key, I think, for reviewers. I think a lot of reviewers don't understand that if somebody looks at you and can relate to you, they're more prone to take your review seriously, but also kind of match your style, right? So if you look at People Starter, right, you know, you're not going to have an 18-year-old guy with tattoos and, you know, and ear piercings watching Phil Busardo videos, but he has his audience because there's people out there that can relate to his age group, his demographic, his style of vaping, and you gravitate to watching his videos like that. And I think by doing stuff like this, talking about just COVID in general, how you're dealing with it, it kind of creates a bond between you and the viewer.
I definitely.
I agree.
I think that it's that same thing. If you like a restaurant, then and somebody and it's one of your friends that you like, you've got a similar taste. You think, well, I'll go there, and then you've got those other friends who recommend a restaurant. You think he's a fuckstick. I'm not going anywhere near that restaurant. It's definitely shit.
Right. That makes me worry about how many of our viewers identify with John.
Don't worry. A lot of them can't get out at night, so it's fine.
Bareback Magazine. The reviews on John are.
No, it's true, because after a few years of reviews or of someone that's been vaping a couple of years, they're not going to be super interested in every single new product. They need to be a bit interested in you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that is key. That is key. Very quickly, gentlemen, if we could just say what we're vaping in true traditional style.
Yours.
John, what are you vaping today?
I am vaping. It's kind of a semi-back for me anyway. I've got a new mod today. I've got an even more beast of a fuck ugly mod again because I just can't stop. So I've got a Geek Vape Aegis X with a Dwar 22 on top with crack current inside. And here it is. I've got the MVP 5.
Hey.
The same what is you? I wanted one, and Sam Adams in the group was selling one, and so I bought it off him.
Love this thing.
At least yours is an appropriate color. It doesn't look like a 1970s.
I love this. I love
brick
this
house.
It is a beast. But it is exactly what you like for me, because I'm only at so there's a what's on here 0.92 coil in there.
Okay, you got a battery for 17 days.
Basically. Yeah, exactly. So I never have to give a shit about it at all. And it's got a torch, and I can charge my phone off it.
Yeah, I think it's what we always used to call a desk mod.
It is. It's perfect.
It just never leaves here. It's available.
I drop shit constantly. It's great for me to have a mod that I can just drop. Because I need to have a mod that I can drop everything.
I will tell you one thing. A lot of people make fun of the flashlight on, which, by the way, the flashlight is actually a really good flashlight on the MVP.
It's amazing.
I cannot tell you how many times I have used that damn thing, especially at your desk.
Yep.
You know, like so you drop something, you want to go behind the computer to plug up, you know, a wire inside, or you lose something. I have used that thing a whole lot more than people give it credit for.
Yep. Finding coils.
I think it's a great.
Older, your vision is like mine. Yeah.
I think it's just stepped back to what the MVP was, which is just this. I remember I went. I'm trying to think. It was the first time I went to Cambodia, so it would have been 2014 or something, and I had the MVP 3, and it was a great mod. It ended up being the mod I used all the time. Choose to charge my phone in long cab rides or on the train or whatever. Yep. It was wicked. It is like the assault rifle of mods, and it's back. I like it. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Fuck, it's going to be cool.
Very cool.
Sorry. I'm going to go. Dimitri, what are you vaping on? We normally do what are you drinking, but it's a bit early for you. Probably.
It's early. I'm not having any alcohol yet. Plus, I had some amazing audio mail today. I don't know if you can see this, but I've been waiting on this thing for a very long time. the Rode Procaster. So I'm going to be setting that up afterwards. So I don't want to drink. Ruin a $600 piece of equipment. So I'm just
Otherwise,
drinking
you'll have to set it up twice.
What was it you're drinking?
Just Powerade.
Oh, Powerade.
Yeah. So just keep me hydrated.
Why are you fucking drinking that? You've done all this thing where you've lost an incredible amount of weight and you think, I know what I need. Some really insipid shit in it.
Sugar. Just sugar.
I generally don't drink during the day.
Right. Oh, yeah, alcohol, but you can get water.
Yeah, it's a rule. But I like, this is actually, I use the Powerade bottle constantly, but I have like a little thing that you squirt just to flavor it.
Oh, okay,
I drink all day, so I just squirt. I just have a big water thing over here, and I just keep filling it up.
Cool.
So I'm vaping on obviously Aries 2. I've had the prototype for 4 months, the final prototype, which was supposed to be released before this Corona stuff. Yeah. So this is probably the longest tested prototype ever in the history of vaping. So I'm vaping on a 22 millimeter, and just Monday I got the final packaging. So I filled up a 4 mil black one, and I'm smuffed along. I've got a brick over here as well too, with a live tank, and then I'm testing out. We released a sub ohm coil for the Zenith, the 1 ohm coil, which goes 25 to 27 watts, and because we're working on a new pod mod type design, we've been getting a lot of requests for a higher power coil. So I'm actually testing out a 1 ohm, not a 1 ohm, I shouldn't say the resistance. I'm testing out a new Z coil that goes up to 35 watts. Nice. So that's what I have in the Z Pro for direct lung. So that's basically what I'm vaping on here.
Very nice. Brad, what are you vaping?
I am on Old Faithful, the UL, with my Dwarf MTL.
Yeah.
And in there, once again, I went digging in drawers. And it's amazing what I can find in the back of the drawer, like hidden behind planks of wood. And I only moved 2 months ago. I didn't even know I had
That's the problem, though. You keep moving house.
Yeah. And I found some cannoli me one.
Oh, that's liquid gold there. That's probably steeped very well, too.
Mm.
This has more than likely been aging for 12 months, longer.
Looks perfect.
So it is. It's very yummy. And it's not early yet. Not that early is a requirement for me. But I'm back on the gin tonight.
Is it gin or is it water?
No, this is gin and tonic.
Was I too close to the mic before, by the way? I was just getting complaints. Okay, I'm going to back off from the mic, sorry.
It's fine.
Is it water or is it gin? Sorry, did we get to the end of it?
Gin and tonic in my pretty just had neck glass.
We'll never know for sure.
No, I think it's
a secret non-drinker.
Yeah.
I haven't been sober for a long time.
So not vaping the Rose then, Brad?
No, still not vaping the Rose. I will set it up and use it next weekend.
Who sent it again?
Any better?
Daniel.
It's fine, John.
Daniel sent it to me.
Daniel. That's very kind. Okay, well, we'll find out about that next week then. I am vaping own stuff. I can show this. I can show this now that I'm vaping. This is the Drag X. The Vupu Drag X.
We couldn't be shown.
I don't know why they put some date on it. Yeah, I don't know why. It's yeah, just to hype it up. They put a date on it. It's a drag. There's two versions. One without a built-in battery, and one with. This is one without 18650. It's like a pod mod thing that drops in, and it's like a smart board. It knows the coil, so it puts the wattage to it automatically. It's got a cool adjustable airflow. I don't know if anyone's seen this yet, but it's got this latch on the back, and that affects the airflow. It's pretty neat.
Oh, was that as part of the mod kind of thing?
Yeah.
And it looks really good on that device. That's what makes it cool. That if it probably wouldn't look good on like a tank.
Yeah.
But it looks great on that device because of the leather that it has on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I do hope they do introduce a 510 adapter though, because it seems weird to have what is very much just a full-on mod and then only have one type of thing that can ever go on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they are or not. but that's a thing. Loads of different coils for it, all different wattages, which is nice. A lot of places don't do. A lot of people don't do that now. It's usually a new thing comes out, there's 1 or 2 coils available. So it's nice that there's a full range. So that's cool.
Yeah, they sort of stagger the release of different resistance coils.
Yes, yeah. This one it literally just said straight away these 8 coils are available. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Got the COG RTA that we were talking about last week. Matt Cully and Wotofo collaboration. Vaping that on the brick. I'll be honest, I'll tell you now, I'm having a bit of a time with this. Some of the some of the details aren't right. I don't know if it's me being crazy.
Airy? Is it dry airy? Is it proper
yes.
MTO? Maybe let me just put that. Is it proper MTO?
It can go quite tight. It can go quite tight. This is
because the only thing I thought about when we were designing the Aries 2 in China, I can't tell you how many times we brought up proper MTO.
Yep.
But it was a huge part of our design board.
Todd's in chat tonight.
Todd on there, which took half the board, but we had Todd actually on the board while we were doing it.
Yes, absolutely. It's yes, it can go quite tight. Not super really old school tight, but it can go quite tight. No, I'm having trouble with the coil widths. Matt said in his video, his introduction video of it, that 3mm coils can fit. I'm finding that they're way too tight. And also in the packaging, it comes with a coil that says it's 2.5mm wide, and when you take it out, it's not. It's 2mm. So I don't know if they've all got a bit scrambled about all the dimensions, but I want to be able to tell people exactly what coils fit in. And so I'm going to talk to Matt or someone before I do that. But it seems to be, it needs to be 2mm or 2.5mm to be spot on. Otherwise, it's a bit hairy. And still got the Dead Rabbit SQ on the.
Before you carry on, those are the sort of details that people do still come to reviewers for.
Yes, that's why. And for someone like me, I love a 3mm coil. That's like my go-to. I like how much wick you can get through it, and it's just I always if a tank fits it, that's what I go for. So if it was me, I would, and I was watching a review, I would be listening for that. So I don't want to say that wrong on the thing, just in case it misleads people. So yeah, I mean 2.5 is fine, but
I think that point that you bring up is something that's lost, I think, a lot in MTL. I think when you look at air design and velocity design, the size of the coil and the way that the air hits the coil on the bottom is crucial. Yeah. And some atomizers benefit from different sizes coils. There's no doubt about it. The 4mm Aries benefits from a 3mm coil. It works better than the 2mm, which benefits from a 2.5mm coil. It's something that that's how I have mine set up. And I mean, I'm not a connoisseur of flavors, but the liquid that I have been vaping for a very long time, I know I can tell the subtle differences. Yeah. But I think it's nothing wrong with. You can't make an atomizer that satisfies everybody.
No, that's true.
I think there's nothing wrong with companies saying, hey, or a designer saying, hey, look, this is what this is designed for. And if you don't like that, literally there's 1,000 other pieces on the market that you can find something to care. But when you're trying to do something that does, it does proper MTL, loose MTL, RDL, slight DL, and then you can put, 1.5mm to 4.5mm, it just does not work, and people are going to have a hard time with it.
Are you still vaping the green tea, Dimitri?
No, I'm not.
You got me in trouble years ago with my wife because I bought that green tea.
Did you like it?
Well, I like the taste is fine. The smell in the air is unmistakably piss. There's no way around it.
It smells like a cat pissed on a wet sock.
It's really bad. That's what I got in trouble for.
Yeah. So I vaped methylated green peach tea for almost 3.5 years.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing. But what happened to me is what happens to a lot of new vapors. just one day I woke up and it tasted like shit to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's probably a receptor in my mouth that was probably clogged from smoking all these years that just suddenly opened up, and it just didn't taste good for me. This has happened to me a few times through my last.
Yeah. I've done like years on stuff and then gone, no, I'm out.
I'm vaping. I mean, I'm still mentholated, like heavy mentholated. I vape. My stuff literally gangbangs your throat, but I have Sublime, which is like a mentholated mojito in one of my tanks. I have Cool Citrus, which is the new line that me and Matt Cully and P. Basardo launched. And then I made a DIY with pineapple and citrus, and that has 3% WS-23 inside. It's fucking delicious. It's so good. It's so good. But menthol is like heroin. Like the more you do it, the more you have to up it. It's like, you reach that high and then all of a sudden that's satisfying. You have to up it up a little bit more,
It sounds like you have a menthol addiction, not a nicotine addiction.
Yes.
It is that thing. I'm guilty of doing it as well, but as soon as you mention heroin, you go, yeah, you've probably not stolen your grandmother's telly. I mean, no, really. Where's my TV? I need more menthol, Gran. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. John, the news.
Yes. Sorry, jumping around. Is the audio any better? I updated Zoom.
I think it's fine.
I jumped off, and now chat's dead, so I've no idea. I don't know. Probably shit, but I did my best. Right, I've gone. I met a semi-American. I've gone with. There's a great. You're still having problems in the US with the COVID connection with vaping, and so I thought I'd go with that.
Oh, which one was this, John? Sorry.
This was IDS.
Oh yes.
We'll skip the other one, but I'll go through it.
No.
Vaping may make you more susceptible to COVID-19, but more evidence is needed. With classes of about 700 medical students, IU School of Medicine professor W. Graham Carlos, note the mention of 700. It's got fuck all to do with anything, but they mentioned it. Look at the COVID-19 case. He emphasised the importance of documenting good medical history. This means asking about the patient's social life, which includes vaping history. I believe that making a good medical history for anybody presenting with breathing problems should include asking them about smoking as well as vaping, Carlos said. Carlos is also section chief for pulmonary and critical care at Escanese Health, a hospital in Indianapolis, leading the COVID-19 unit. The problem is this issue again is I don't know how you've gone into this as well, Dimitri, but we've spoken about this in the last few weeks a lot. We are, as vapors and ex-smokers, we are shit subjects for this kind of stuff. I smoked for 20 years. I am a bad subject for saying, oh, vaping could cause this. Yeah, or it could have been the 20 years of cigarettes and filterless cigarettes that I smoked. Yeah, it's got. I'm a very bad subject for this.
I think I think that a lot of the European vapors that try to comment on U.S. stories don't understand the system in America.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to notice that all these stories, and I guarantee you, if you go back and do some research, let's say for the last 2 years on scientific studies that have been released in the United States, you're always going to see one common theme. 2 words: may.
Yes.
Vaping might cause an erection. May, we don't know. I mean, it could possibly do that. And then you're going to see another key word that's inside there is further studies needed.
Yeah.
The reason why this is because all these studies are funded by grants based on what's called the PATH study here in America. So the PATH study is a study that was commissioned by the Food and Drug Administration. It's a longitudinal study of 8-9 years that gives grants to various scientific universities, hospitals, groups from the government to study electronic cigarettes. Stanton Glantz is one of the biggest receivers of this type of money. He just got $20 million last year. So what happens is that if any scientific group comes out and says, vaping is good, guess what? There's no more money. I mean, you're done. There's no more funding coming in. So those are the 2 biggest issues with any kind of science that you're going to see coming out of America. The second part to this as well is that I will say over 95% of groups that study vaping in America don't know how to use the products. It's still a novel product.
That's happened in the UK. It did happen a few times. I mean, famously, the Harvard study, which gets bandied around, still was known, disproved, and known dry burning atomizers from not knowing what the fuck they're doing, especially from their own test results and chemical sheets. They were definitely overheating the atomizers over and over and over again.
Yeah, the results are always skewed and always manipulated to, and even if you look at those results, if you compare it to smoking, which once again never happens here in America, right? So it's just a study that says we found formaldehyde or we found metals, right? And then the headline is you have nickel, you have cadmium, you have whatever in your vapor. The threshold is not there, meaning that it's not the poison, it's the dosage, right? So we never see it compared versus to a cigarette. Like, what's the difference between formaldehyde that you're actually getting in the vapor, which you are getting formaldehyde in vapor, there's no doubt about it, but the threshold is so low that it's insignificant. So that's going to continue until we get some products approved by the FDA. So until we get some PMTAs through, and until the Food and Drug Administration actually gives authorization for vapor products to be on the market, that's not going to back off, because it's a huge business. I mean, your health is a huge business to a lot of people, and the COVID is the prime example. Like, tobacco-free kids and Glance and all these people are probably shitting their pants now that we're getting all this chatter from France and from Greece that nicotine might actually help with COVID, right? I mean, can you imagine the irony of that? So there's more propaganda coming out to scare people before this stuff comes out. That would be a counter.
The same thing though, Dimitri, with the nicotine, because we talk cautiously about the nicotine positive that's coming out of Paris, but the reflection across the board is it could easily be an anomaly, because there's so many factors in anybody's life that affect these things, and nicotine could be a factor, or it could be nothing. I know they're testing it, but it's very, very small scale, especially out of Paris. And when we're talking about China, with 80% of males in China above the age of 18 smoke cigarettes, and so we end up and the figures are, it could be something else. It could be weight related.
The statistics out of China is the one that really triggered me, because I've been to China 15 times. Everybody and their mother smokes. I mean, literally, they're delivering a baby with a cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah,
so absolutely. What I'm saying is that in COVID cases in China, under 20% were smokers. Well, that statistic alone to me is, without being a scientist looking at it, I was like, how can this possibly be under 20% to be smokers in a population that everybody smokes? So there's got to be something there. That's how this whole thing started, I think, too.
Absolutely, but there were because as we know, but we've spoken about this on the show as well. We have to be as analytical with positive stories as we are with negative, because as soon as it's negative, we're like fucking Sherlock Holmes, and we go into it straight away. Go, well, no, it can't be that because you did this. It can't be this. I need to see the statistics on that. As soon as one of the famous bullshit stories in vaping is hospitals add PG to air conditioning systems to clean the air. Total bullshit.
Absolutely, I agree.
When I checked it back, they're repeating a study from somewhere in the 1940s in the UK, correct, and it's total shit. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's absolutely nonsense. It's never been used. But it's such a weird thing. We see it all the time in vaping. People say, "How many colds have you had since you vaped?" Fuck off. It's not what you're doing. You're doing the exact same thing, and we need to veer away from doing that, because it's easy to follow those.
Yep.
Agree. Dr. Frasalinos is the same. I've known Dr. Frasalinos since 2012. Every time he comes out with a good study, everybody in the vaping industry praises him. And then he comes out and says, hey, you need to watch out about knee 80 wire. And everybody's like, fuck you. You don't know. What the hell are you? Who are you? You just, that's just the nature of the beast. But keep in mind that that's just the community, it's very, very small percent. I mean, you might think like all vapors, things like that. It's not. It's just a very, very small, loud online segment.
Yes, that's the trigger. It's the loud portion of the community.
Absolutely, and it does not represent, the majority of vapors. I think the majority of vapors understand. Like even for me and Phil, when we do the smoker show, we never would tell anybody vape because it prevents COVID. We're going to wait for the data to comes out, the science comes out, and then when that comes out, we'll report on it based on the findings that we're going to find. It's going to be good or bad. It doesn't make any difference to us. But we do have that tendency, and then when you do it publicly, you know, Twitter is something that I'm very, very active as an advocate. It's a great medium to reach out and get your point across, very, very quick, short, to politicians, scientists, or whatever. And on Twitter, I cringe sometimes with the stuff that vapors tweet to, you know, to professionals, you know, but it's just the nature of the beast. You know, social media, you have a keyboard. Anybody behind a keyboard can just type something out. You know, it's probably, I guarantee you, it's 99% that it was not something that would ever say face to face with somebody. And we see that with us as well too. I've had people drama and shit on a keyboard, and then when I see them at a vape show, they come and hug me. You know, it's just that's how it is. You know.
Yeah, they're always one of my favourite ones. I like people who want to front up. They are quite funny. Yeah. I used to empty containers for everything. Have fun. The one I can't get, I'm just going to pull up a story because it's failed because we're in Europe. But we've got the New York State flavor ban is May 18th. Their story, I can't open it anymore. Big T are calling it a win for themselves, and yeah, a flavor ban from November 18th. So we are 4 days away from New York State flavor ban.
May 18th. And July 1st, online sales are banned as well too, meaning that you cannot ship product into. Technically, you can't ship product into New York's flavored product into New York State.
And it's definitely official happening.
Yeah, I mean, and unless there's a legal challenge at some point, it's going to go through. This is the 4th state now in America that has done that. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Jersey have also banned. And you can see the theme there. You know, they're all in the top right corner of the. You know, these are states that depend on tobacco tax, depend on tobacco, but they're very heavily tobacco influenced as well too. People need to understand that big tobacco is behind this. They have the full support of passing laws like that. Yeah. But it's initiated through. It's not a conspiracy. Okay, let's just
no.
So it's not going to be, you know, big tobacco and pharmaceutical companies and politicians and tobacco-free kids are sitting in a room and like, how are we going to fuck vapors? It doesn't work like that. No. Okay, but what does happen is that there's small influences by these powerful lobby groups to pass legislation that benefits all parties involved, except us, right? So that's how something is kind of drafted. And you can see even from the language, it's very, very poor because the language is not, it's not defined correctly. So if somebody pops up an idea, an amendment comes in, then another company comes in with big lobby and amends something and changes it up, and then you end up with this final draft. Basically, this law bans everything that is refillable flavored e-liquid, period, unless it has a PMTA authorization from the Food and Drug Administration. And it's something that we're seeing in Florida. Florida has the same legislation. It has not passed. It's on the governor's desk, but they've passed the legislation through the House and the Senate. And it's the same language that we're seeing in California right now. So basically they're saying, if you want your product to be sold in the state, and they're doing this not to be sued afterwards, okay? Because they can be sued. The FDA legally has given you authorization to sell your product and the state bans it, that opens them up for lawsuits. Yeah. So, and even now you could actually sue them because technically products pre-August 8th of 2016 are legal to be sold on the market. There's no law stopping you from doing that. Now the puff bars and all this other, you know, jerk off shit that's on the market, all that is obviously post August 8th, 2016. So yeah, it's unfortunate for New York. And it's unfortunate that there's been some people hard working there for the last 3-4 years through the New York Vape Association trying to get stuff done. But the response from the industry there has been piss poor.
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
They don't. It's not like. Yeah. But it's the same. We've got the same issue here. If you, how many vapors do you know that have landed in London and they go from the US or somewhere else? And they go, right, I'm in London. This must be the epicenter of vaping. Where am I going? And you go, leave London now. Yeah. There is fuck all in London. And the same thing. I was in New York 5 years ago. Got to New York and went, where am I going? And they went, do you know where Fu lives? And I went, yeah. I just sent through a message, we went out for a beer. It's not worth it. The industry in New York's really odd. Like,
yeah, but it's not just New York City. I think when people think about New York, they think
sorry, New York State. Yeah. We do instantly go.
City. Yeah, the city is. I mean, to open up a vape store in a good location in Manhattan, you need $20,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't open up a vape store there. But the entire state, we're talking about Western New York, Rochester, Long Island, all these other places that have all these vape shops. Nobody got involved. Nobody. The New York State Vape Association, I think, had 43 members in the entire state. I have 100 members in Tennessee Smoke Free Association. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And we're in the fucking hillbilly boonies here. So, but that is the difference, I think, when you're trying to advocate, activate, and lobby on behalf of your industry. You need participation. You need to have business owners, not vapors. I mean, vapors should be when you call them to help, but the financial fight is clearly industry driven. Yeah. And you need to be able to put money into a pot to have powerful representation to protect your rights inside a state capital. And unfortunately, New York had very, very poor, not representation, they had poor attendance of people willing to contribute into that fight. And I'll take it one step further, our industry, because it still is an amateur. So we have to be a little bit fair, okay? We are still a baby industry, okay? Yeah, we're not like we've been around for 100 years, right? Like alcohol and stuff like that. So because we are a baby industry, it's very difficult to get some of these business owners that were working at Starbucks a couple of years ago or were changing oil. All of a sudden, they came up with a recipe or they opened up a vape shop and they made some money to get into the business mindset of thinking. We're still vapors, right?
You'll be very nice because this happens. Oh, I've got to be really
diplomatic.
As a business owner in the UK, it's a really strange thing. I've been managing companies since I was 20, and I'm 38 now, and so what companies don't change. Yeah, the products change, but the company doesn't change. I've changed. I've done retail and sold flats. Doesn't make any difference. It's all works in a similar way. And I've had some of the strangest discussions in my life in the industry where people have said the most amazing things to me in business meetings when I've asked them something. Oh, blah 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 blah, and I've like a cost price or something, and they say something that's from the moon. The amount of people I've told to have a really nice weekend. See you later.
It's even harder for me because I do have a company that consults since 2016 in America. So my company, Global E-Vapor Consulting, works with e-liquid companies for regulatory framework, TPD work. I do all kinds of stuff in that sector. Very, very in the background. It's not something that I promote or do anything like that. I work with people that I know. And the reason why I do that is because it's very difficult to work with these people. It's very difficult for me to tell you. And the way that I've approached it and it's worked for me is I'll go to a company that asks me a question and they're going to say, well, can I put this product on the market? And I'm going to say, legally, no. However, everybody's doing it. You can put the product on the market. If this happens, you can expect, boom, a letter, attorneys, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to handle it. So I give them all the opportunity to understand fully what they're doing and then let them make a business decision. I can't make a business decision for them, but you need to be aware of what the risks and what you're attempting to do, what it could possibly turn it into.
I need to do some arse covering quickly, where also I have dealt with some of the best people in business as well. And that is totally true. People who are naturally know what they're doing and naturally no issue, like no problem at all.
Yeah, I'm just going to add to that. I don't think people ever naturally know what they're doing in business. It's people who've made an effort to improve themselves.
No, people do. They do. When I was a kid, my dad is really weird. In the 90s, we had, late 80s, early 90s, we had a massive recession in the UK. And my dad owned a shop. He was also a coder. But he thought it'd be really fun to do fair trade before fair trade existed. And then he went bankrupt. Wasn't it great? Like, there was this people kind of like what's happening right now. We're about to get what we had before, but worse. And I remember it. I remember the end of the 80s. So we had loads and loads of shop stock in the house, in the garage, that when my dad went bankrupt, they couldn't do anything with. And so the only thing we could do was go to tabletop sales. And my dad would take me along. I was 10, and my dad would take me. And made disgusting amounts of money. And my stepmother would go, okay, you've got a tabletop sale. What time are you going? And he said, well, I need John. And he said, why? And he said, wow, I don't know. He's some sort of weird bastard. And yeah, I'd make sure no one left the store without spending any money. And we used to make, so we had lots that we sold £4,000 worth of stock.
Yeah, but that's good. That's naturally being a salesman. That's different.
It's
hair products. I just want to know. Was it hair products that he was selling?
No. My dad's hair is very similar to this. I will say that, and he's 73.
John, let me tell you this: there are people in this industry that started. I know guys that I still work for today that started in mixing liquid in their house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Upgraded to their garage. Then they got a place. Then they grew. They GMP. They ISO. They grew with a business because they would listen, they would absorb, and they always try to make themselves better. But again, the majority of this industry is a young industry that simply doesn't understand the political game. Yeah. So, which brings me around to the New York thing, as we said, and I see some comments in the chat. You can't 0 milligram short, all that's disallowed. It's not.
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to answer them as they've been popping up.
There's no manipulation to if it's a refillable and you can put it in a tank and anything, it's not allowed. Which brings me back to New York, is that if New York 3-4 years ago, same as California. California is a prime example. What happened in California is going to happen in New York. And California was the mecca of vaping back in 2012, 2013. Almost 3,000 vape shops in the state of California. Money was flowing in like crazy. I mean, these young guys were selling, a lot of people forget, we were selling a 30 ml bottle of liquid for 24 fucking $.
I don't forget. Yeah.
We're talking about liquid gold here, okay?
Yeah.
Liquid gold. Don't look what they've done with liquid now. They've completely raped it. But at the time, they were making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I remember specifically 2014, right before the ECC in California, because I had formed the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association at the time. I met with a bunch of guys in the industry, big names at the time. We're talking about Epic Juice. We're talking about Vaping Monkey, Vape Revolution, all these big California guys, about 12 to 15 manufacturers in a room. And I said, guys, right now is the time for you. Raise a couple $1 million. Hire not one, hire 3 lobby groups to represent you, and get out there and get ahead of this and create some laws. Don't defend.
I see where you went wrong. You said go ahead of this. That was where you went wrong.
So everybody at that meeting was very hyped, and I was so proud. I was like, these guys get it. So the next day, ECC happens, and here we go. You know, cocaine, midgets, strippers, fucking, at the party. And
normal vape meat stuff.
And after Monday, it's done. Everybody forgot about it and went back to selling their shit. And look what happened. It completely, there's like 178 stores in California. It's just ridiculous. And everybody left state. Like everybody left California. Yeah. Either went to Las Vegas or went to Texas. The same thing has happened in New York, because if people had put their support behind the New York Vape State Association, whether you agree with them or not, that's the group. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care if you don't like I don't like a few of the people there. I'll be honest with you, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't fight for them or fight with them to fight for vaping. So if they had gotten 200, 300 businesses behind them to financially fund this 2-3 years ago, they'd be in a much better place than they are right now, which is basically the elimination of vapor as we know it. Do you feel like a bit split with people like
Como, with him doing like relatively, he did an incredible speech on COVID-19 last week, and has been a complete pain in the ass continuously for the vaping industry.
I don't want to sound like I'm insensitive, but I couldn't give a shit about Cuomo. Honestly, I don't, because if you believe in reducing harm in your state, vaping should be an issue as well too.
I agree.
I can't say, oh, hey, listen, if you're going to kill somebody with but
you have to be. You live in America, so you do have, your choices are always one dickhead or another dickhead.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that. But to me, I can't take his COVID. What I'm trying to say is I can't take his COVID brilliant speech as serious or something that I would believe him, simply because it doesn't fit the narrative of what you're trying to sell me. You're trying to sell me that you care for your people, but yet you're letting them smoke. So it doesn't make any sense. I don't think necessarily Cuomo hates vaping. It's not about that.
No. No, it's political. It's not the same thing.
Hates vaping. It's generally an inside thing because, one of their constituents or his cousin's kid got caught with a jewel, and and that's how it all starts. Believe me when I tell you, here in Tennessee last year we had the same issue. One of our big supporters signed on to this bill last year that I've met with multiple times, and he came to me and he said, my daughter that is 19 in college started vaping. So on the inside, I want to say, bro, probably smoking before. That's what I wanted to say, but I did.
It's probably done more than that.
And it's like, it was initiated use, blah, 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 and all this. And I tried to explain to him, I said, well, your daughter, if she started now, she's very, very bright because she didn't smoke. And she understands the difference between the two products. So that tells me that kids today, youth in general today, are much more smarter than you guys that are making the fucking laws. Yeah. Because they realize that vaping is less harmful than smoking. But I didn't say it like that. I just want to clarify. It was more of a polite conversation. I'm just kind of exaggerating for the show. But when the conversation ended, he told me, he's like, well, at the end of the day, I can't complain because she has straight A's and she made the dean's list. And I turned to him. I swear to God. Lobbyist in the room, a couple business owners in the room with me. I turned to him and I said, you see, nicotine is a wonderful drug. Just like I fucking walked out. And I just left afterwards. So I don't think it's necessarily the vaping that people hate. It's the financial losses. It's the influence of the other lobbies. It's the kid thing that clearly Juul initiated in America. And now, of course, us as an industry, we're carrying that Juul, fuck up, and it's a huge problem that we're going to have to tackle at some point.
Yeah.
With the businesses you said you were talking to on the California side, post the laws coming out there, they've all buggered off, like you said, to Texas and Arizona, Nevada. What are they doing now? Are they now sitting back and doing nothing still and hiding in that state?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, I mean, most of the time. Some of them have gone out of business, obviously. Others moved to states that pass laws themselves, whether it be taxation or something like that. The funniest one was Las Vegas. Like, it was a huge deal of this big, I won't say the name, but big company left Las Vegas, huge within the community, and left California, said, oh, we're going to Vegas and we're going to continue to. And then Vegas passes a wholesale tax. So any stock that you have in your warehouse gets taxed by, 25% or whatever. And then they're looking to move to the States again. So I'm like, what a great business plan. Like, every 2 years, pack up all your shit and move to a different state, to avoid this, where you can spend just some money.
This is going to run out of places as well.
This is now the time to tell you we're moving to the Channel Islands, isn't it? I'm going to have to jump to the next story.
We'll have to jump to the reason Dimitri's here. The main reason Dimitri's here.
Can I just do?
No, I love talking about vape. I hate that.
Can I not just do two really fast news stories?
Go on then.
I'll go really fast.
I'd rather talk about this than talk about product, honestly.
One thing is that menthol cigarettes become illegal in the UK from May 20th. So you are now 6 days away from menthol cigarettes in the UK. Being bad, and they're saying 500,000 smokers will quit when they take menthol out of the cigarettes. Just a quick tip: they fucking will not.
Right.
It's absolute bollocks. We've done this before. If we talk about heroin earlier, nicotine is a more addictive substance than heroin. It's been proven that will not happen. Second one is that I thought was quite interesting, just as a positive note, and moving away from COVID and everything else.
By the way, cutting off menthol is great for vaping because it'll bring more customers in.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it'll definitely give
but as a believer
chance.
of the free market, because I'm a more believer of the free market than I am in vaping, I think it's horseshit. Yeah, if I'm going to fight for vaping, I should fight for menthol cigarettes as well too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not even that. The liberty
of a citizen have the right.
I'm so fucking bored of empty shit. They say they're going to put up the price, or they say they're going to change the packet. That you're ridiculous. If you change the bag heroin was in, people wouldn't go, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right.
I've got a positive thing coming out, which is quite a good thing.
You're obsessed with heroin tonight.
It's him, Dimitri.
I started a
massive smackhead.
Hashtag heroin vape at the Ohm Show.
Yorkshire-based packaging experts, Lifestyle Packaging have introduced BioPack to the UK market, described as a groundbreaking formula that will degrade plastic packaging in 10 years.
Oh, I've got a picture for this.
Well, it is an additive that they put in the plastic when they're mixing it. But the reason it's quite important to us is PET, which is used a lot in bottles that we use, and is a fucking nightmare. But they add this. Basically, it becomes active over a couple of years and starts eating into itself. So the plastic biodegrades over 10 years. I think it's a really quite interesting thing to watch. And I think it's quite positive as well.
Why do we get away from glass anyway? I don't know. I don't get it. I love glass.
Is it just purely because online sales got bigger and it's more convenient to not send glass?
It's just a trend. Just like anything in vaping, the chubby came out, it became a trend, and everybody shifted to it. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it has nothing to do with the quality of the product. Actually, glass is so much better. It's proven. I've done a lot of leach tests on e-liquid for testing, and glass is so much better. I think it was just the hype. You know, it pictures well, right? A 60 ml bottle pictures well. It's easier to put in your pocket. And then, you know, a few companies started using them and got a lot of hype on Instagram and marketing, and then everybody just followed it, just like everything in vaping.
I will say, I think that it was almost a perfect storm, because the chubby came out, and then at the same time we were working with the TPD or the TPDR. And part of the first draft of the TPD said it had to be a leak-proof refill system. Yeah. So there was no way they were going to use glass bottles. And so that was it was the perfect storm that they fucked up out the market at the same time. So both you're quite right. There was a trend, and also that they knew there was no leak-free system in a glass bottle. It was impossible. So I think that's where we ended up at.
Yeah. Yes.
Ricardio!
Make glass great again. Let's go.
Okay.
Be my,
we want the big sell, the Aries 2. You did a really cool little video.
What a journey. You know, I mean, me and Phil have been so unlucky. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like we are very, very unlucky as far as you know, the concept of the Aries came about, you know, 4 years ago when you know, me and Phil were the only MTL people in the world. Okay, so let's not forget about that.
Mark Todd.
I don't want you fucking.
I'm going to give you Mark Todd as an MTL.
I'll tell you fucking reviewers that have come to me personally at shows and tell me, oh, if it wasn't sub-ohming, I wouldn't quit smoking. And sub-ohming is this. And now you're fucking designing MTL atomizers. Suck my balls, okay? Second, the Aries was a project that me and Phil came up with because of the style that we're vaping. But we also felt that our niche is products for new people. We want to bring people into the community, right? And you need people like us, like to introduce people into vaping. And then once they quit smoking, then they can go on to their journey and become customers in the vaping industry. Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to do is come up with an atomizer, drop it in deck, easy to build, has all the tools inside, coils, wire. We even wanted to put a screwdriver and a scissors inside, not a screwdriver, but scissors inside the package. But because of insurance reasons, innokin doesn't. We wanted to have the complete thing in there for people to pick it up and say, well, maybe I can learn how to build, especially now when we're seeing bans and stuff like that. And I'm not intimidated by it, right? We put a QR code inside, you scan it with your phone, it goes to a page, you see some videos of Phil helping you out. It's just like a support thing. So when the first Aries was designed, keep in mind, it was the first rebuildable that innokin ever put out on the market. And they completely fucked it up. I mean, there were so many manufacturing issues with thresholds and tolerances and leaking and top caps, bottom caps, and all that. And we try to save it as much as we possibly. There's people today that still use the original Aries that got some good pieces and they really, really enjoy it.
Yep.
So what we did is we went back and we listened to the consumers, what exactly they wanted to change. And we did exactly that. We changed the top cap, put the slide in top cap that makes a better seal. Now it's removable, so you can change the little silicone plug inside. We added idents down on the airflow ring. That way it makes a better seal and actually clicks into place to know exactly which airflow ring that you're in. And we closed the wick channels to make it easier for you to put the cotton inside. All stuff that we took from vapors themselves that were using the product, and we try to implement it into the new Aries. And of course, we came up with a cross airflow control system, which happened in my house here. Me and Phil were sitting and we were discussing about some kind of airflow system from the outside that's adjustable, but gives you literally hundreds of options to fine tune your vape. That's the difference. I was asking yesterday if like COG was a copy of, no. I mean, the COG gives you set. You get this, this, and this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Where the Aries literally gives you hundreds of possibilities of combination of airflow on the outside and on the inside. So we literally took 2 pieces of paper and cut a square, a line in between and put one on top of the other. And then we started to turn it like that. And I'm like, wow, that's a good idea. Let's see if we can implement that in an atomizer. And then when we went to China, we were able to fine tune that. Big thing for me is like all the possibilities to do that before that was pin, right? So you have to remove the coil, take the pin out, put a smaller pin, and put, to try to fine tune it. How can we do it with a coil on top? So we came up with this double cup system where you turn it and it goes from a full open slot into a diamond and into a pin, to a smaller pin for a very, very tight MTL. And it's tight. I mean, this is one of the things that people wanted from the Aries One, including Mark Todd. But they wanted it to be proper. They wanted it to be tight. It gets as tight as Phil's butthole when I'm driving in Greece. I mean, the thing is tight. It is tight. Yeah. And then it goes all the way up to loose MTO, which is the way that I enjoy Hatha vaping, which is, I think, critical. It does not do both. It's not a DL atomizer. And I think it's very, very hard to combine this. I don't think anybody is.
I think you nailed it earlier. It's impossible.
Yeah, correct. And we understand the niche that we're going with. And the other thing that we wanted to change versus the first one, and this is going to piss off some of the UK people, is that, we had the 2 mil with a 4 mil conversion. Again, there was issues because you had to change the bell, and if the bell didn't seal correctly inside, it would fall apart when you try to open it. So we created 2 versions. People wanted a 22 millimeter, so we decided let's do a 22 millimeter version that's 2 ml, and then let's do a 24 millimeter version that's 5 ml. Yeah. So for UK, obviously you're gonna get a 2 mil. You'll have to order the 5 mil from out of the country or whatever.
People are happy to do that.
To get 5, because I know all you fuckers get 5 mil channel. So whatever channels that you're using over there to get it, you can get it. But to me, the final product came out perfect. Again, think about stuff how we design. All right, we don't design thinking about a specific vapor. And I think a lot of people, when they pick up new equipment, they expect it to be designed for their style of vaping. Our philosophy is easy, simple. Yeah. Look at all our tanks: Zenith, Slide, Aries. There's no 2 pieces to refill it. It's either going to be a slide, a twist, or a pop. Yeah. So that way you don't have to have 2 pieces in your hand when you're refilling the e-liquid. The Zenith and the Slide, easy cold change. You don't touch liquid anywhere in your hands. This is the kind of stuff that we think about. Everything that can be done with cotton and wire has been done. Everything that you see now that comes has been. There's nothing that you can do with this technology that will give you like a wow moment. Like, I put cotton and wire together and I got a wow moment. All that is hype. There's nothing really, really different out there. So what can we do with the technology that we have today? Make it easier. So if I can create a product that helps somebody quit smoking, I've done my job. And then we've gained a customer in the entire industry as well too. Yeah. And it's very beneficial overall for vaping more than it is for me to design a specialty wasp dripper, for example, right? So I'm going to sell 20,000 pieces of this, and it's going to go specific to this niche. What have I accomplished? Well, 2 weeks later is going to be another RDA that comes out, and we forgot about wasp. Now we're talking about the next one, the twisted ohm, whatever it's going to be. Yeah. We wanted things that are going to be on the market for longevity. Our tanks, Zenith tanks, Slide tank, have been on the market for a very long time. Coils are available everywhere, which is very, very important for new vapors. Yeah. And with Aries 2, we're hoping that this system, we hope that people enjoy it. And if this is successful, I think it's going to give innokin a fresh breath to attempt to do more projects like that. I want to do an RDA, for example. MTL RDAs are hard to find.
Yeah, especially that aren't fugly and do work.
Yes, either ugly or expensive.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind the expensive. I'm an awfully posh vapor, really.
Well, I mean, if I had hair like yours, I wouldn't mind either. But for people that can't afford it, the area is going to be $37. We want it to be in that price range, right?
Oh well, we don't get that over here because we did the it's fuck's sake.
Yeah. I mean, you have the pound conversion. I get it, but I think it's very, very important to have a good quality vape that's inexpensive. So if that system goes well, I'd like to make an RDA. I have beautiful squonkers here in my collection back here that I can't use. Yep. Simply because I can't find atomizers to top it off that I enjoy. So the key to the flavor to the Aries is the bell. Obviously, the bell design of that dome captures the vapor really nice and creates that vortex to bring it in your mouth. So we want to create that same type of thing with an adjustable CAFC, or we're calling it crosshair flow control CAFC, underneath the coil that gives you that same vape. I think that innokin would be more than happy to do that. We'll see now that this is hitting the market how it's going to be. If we've satisfied the people that had tried the original one and were disappointed, or they're looking for something like that, and then we'll go from there.
Can I ask, how does it work with innokin? What's the process like? So do they push back things they're not sure about? Do you have complete control?
Whatever the answer is, we have to get Dimitri has to say niche again. I don't know what a niche is, but I want one.
It's like a category. It's like it's our own category of customer base. What we're looking for.
Particular brand of quiche.
I think a lot of people want to make a product is like, oh, I want everybody to buy it. Well, that doesn't.
I was making a joke, but we call it niche.
Oh, yeah, we say niche.
So China is very difficult, as I'm sure you know if you work with them, Vic. It's there's a language barrier, and there's a taste barrier. Okay, nobody in China vapes.
Yeah,
I think people should understand. George, the owner of innokin, is the only owner of a factory that I personally know, and I've met pretty much all of them that actually quit smoking with vaping. Yeah. But the engineers, they all smoke. Yeah, I mean, they all do. Everybody in China smokes. So I can tell an engineer, I want this to be 1.73 millimeters, and they're going to get it right on the spot. But if I tell them I want the vapor to be wet and saturated in my mouth, they have no fucking idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's a hard part. So our deal with innokin is that anything that comes under the platform series. So when you look at a box and it says platform series, those have to have our final say before they go out. And then the other innokin products, which we also do R&D and testing for, or we work on software like the MVP, we worked on the interface of the MVP. And one of the things that we implemented that's different, I think, in the MVP than other devices is that it actually has a menu for the Zenith coil and the Ajax coil. Yeah. So you can go, if you're a Zenith user, you can go into the Zenith menu, and then it gives you a range of wattages that correspond to the coils, right? So that's the kind of stuff that we do. For anything that we do for innokin, as far as they have the final say. But it's very, very hard to get new ideas out there. Yeah. You know, China is very looking at what other people are doing as well too. Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, you know, this is, you know, it's very hard for them to take a risk and say, well, we're going to try something new. A perfect example is the Beep, right? And they were right. We released the Beep at a time where all the pods were tiny. So here comes the Beep, right? And everybody's like, oh, this thing is huge. I mean, they don't understand the concept behind having a big battery, squeeze, easy to fill. You don't have to take, you know, the thing. Then what happens?
Oh, fucking massive.
6 months later, all the fucking pods are huge. So literally we were like, look at pods coming out now. They're bigger than mods, bro. I'm telling you.
That's true.
It was just, that's the unlucky part of us. So yeah, of course, they're very, very hesitant to take step, especially if you had, I mean, to me, the Beep is still a great device. I still use it, but it's definitely not a success under our you know, Zenith and the Zly. We've sold over 2 million tanks, right? So I think that it's not as successful for us to be able to get that air with innokin to say, oh, look at, you know, how we did it. Let's do it with this product as well too. So, you know, we're kind of trying to stick to this tried and true devices.
We are very odd as a breed, vapors are very strange. If somebody came to me tomorrow with the best blueberry yogurt you've ever tasted. Now, that's what I do. I sell liquid. If somebody came to me with the best blueberry yogurt ever and I tasted it, I'd be like, oh, I'll do it. But there is so much work in this because we've already done it. You know, because you just think that I can think of so many trends that have been gone that were absolutely massive at the time. They're fucking huge. You couldn't get enough of something, and then you were like, and now people don't give a shit.
Nothing. Yeah, it is trendy. I think what's tried and true is things that help people quit smoking. So again, I want to say, without sounding, I don't want to sound cocky, because that's not my personality, but I do want to say that the trend of MTL has a lot to do with me and Phil. Okay, because when we left Kangaroo, we worked for Kangaroo before, and we went to innokin. We started designing products at MTL in a day and age, because we launched literally at the end of 2016, early 2017, where MTL was dead.
Yes,
not with me, with the Ingress.
I'm not saying with you. I'm just saying in general in the commercial.
Yeah.
I mean,
commercially,
in
America, it really was.
We're selling the smoke steak with a baby beast and 3 milligram as a starter kit. That was a starter kit here in America. You cannot find over 6 milligram in 90% of the vape shops in America. Yeah. So I think that we started a trend that we brought MTL back a little bit, and also I think we set another trend that we don't take credit enough for is universal coils. So before we started with innokin, right, you'd see a company would come out, make a tank, all new coils, all the time. And if you have a vape shop, that is something that is absolutely brutal as a vape shop owner and a distributor trying to do that. So when we went to innokin, we said we're going to create products that are going to be consistent with the Z coil, and everything is going to be compatible moving forward. And we want you to do the same thing for the iSub, Ajax, and stuff like that. We want you to do that for the sub-ohm tanks as well too. And we started doing it. And now look what's happening. A lot of companies have followed that model. The Z coil is a coil that's going to stay. It's going to be around for a very, very long. It's kind of like the Nautilus coil. It's going to be around. It's not going anywhere. So our job is now to create products that will take that same coil, compatible. That way, if you're a vape store owner, it doesn't put that extra burden of you of having to bring new coils inside. And then after 2 months, obviously the company stops making them. And then your customer comes in and says, well, I want a coil for this. And they're going to say, well, I don't have it anymore. And then that customer gets pissed. Yeah. Right. Because you don't have the coil. He might go back to cigarettes. You might lose a customer. He has to buy a whole. I mean, there's so many bad things that happen with it.
Would you say
it's a bad trend? It's a bad trend.
Aspire have done incredibly well with sticking with a range of coils.
Absolutely.
That are interchangeable, especially the Nautilus coils.
They've been a great coil. Been around since.
Yeah, and they've upgraded.
Phil launched the Nautilus tank. I mean, the owner of Aspire told us that me and Phil are solely responsible for launching the Nautilus tank when it launched. This is back in 2012, bro. You're just a baby vapor then,
Oh, just to say, the original Nautilus coil was a piece of shit, and the second one was also
but the BVC is when they nailed it.
No, it wasn't. There was like 2 out of a pack of 5.
The BDC was the first one. And
the QVC, it didn't matter. They were so bad.
That's a completely separate thing, though. QCs is completely separate
into the market.
I don't know how they didn't go bust in the QC, especially when they did the vertical coil.
And listen, don't forget that the BVC coil and Aspire has helped millions of people quit smoking. Let's not forget that. I mean, we
probably helped them quit vaping at the beginning.
Huh?
It probably helped them quit vaping at the beginning.
Yeah.
John's got a big issue with the original.
They were so fucking shit.
But yeah, they did a good job. But if you look at the market, it was just the Nautilus tank.
Yes,
that's where we came
in. It was an open goal, wasn't it?
That gap in with the Zenith. It was just they didn't even update it, and then when they updated to the Nautilus 2, it just got worse and worse. Like the tank, instead of getting better from the original Nautilus, it just started getting worse and worse and worse. The great thing was that the coils were compatible, but as far as ease of use and the tank and the way that it would perform, literally, my wife used the Nautilus 2 before we put out the Zenith. That's what she was using before. Yeah. And I sat down with her and with Phil's wife, and we asked her, I said, what don't you like about this tank? And she said, well, I got to open 2 pieces to fill it. Then if I want to change the coil, I got to take the glass out, empty the tank, and then I got to get my hands women. Why we forget, just because we're all sausage fest, usually online. Don't forget, there's a lot of women vapors as well too.
Yeah, 100%.
And women don't like.
You can't say that. That sounds bad. It's
I'll tell you what.
No.
Tell you what, you're a pretty boy. I'll
tell you what.
You'll get fucking lynched. That's like saying we don't do it in pink, and then you'll get fucking murdered.
No, I tell you what though. One thing Innokin did really, really well ages ago with the Endurer is the lid.
Yeah.
Because handbags are just this world of nonsense, and the lid is invaluable. Like
absolutely.
Because they go in the handbag and all the crap it just goes in.
I remember you telling me because my wife doesn't vape, and I remember you saying, I think I said to you, "What the fuck is the lid for?" And then you said, "You seriously need it. If you're a woman, you need that lid."
I think it's people that we don't think about. That's how me and Phil design. We design with thinking about stuff like that, then thinking about what's the vapor going to want. That's going to after 2 weeks going to forget and is going to want something else. And we need to think about those people as well. I think it's extremely important to think that there's literally millions of people out there that have not discovered vaping. There's millions of old people over 55, 60 that still smoke. Those are the ones that we should really be focusing on. They have been smoking for 30. Not that the young guys are not important.
No, you're right. You're right.
Smoking for 30 years is really the person that we should be reaching out to.
And 3 milligram max BG in a dripper is going to do them fuck all. They're not going to use it. It's never going to happen.
Although I will tell you, I was in London a few years ago when I'm not going to say who, but a reviewer came up to me and said exactly the same thing. He's like, everybody that I recommend 3 milligram in a dripper. This is how I quit smoking. This is the way. By the way, that person is releasing an MTL or released an MTL thing just now. So.
Yeah, it comes up. Well, we've had this argument on the show loads of times where people say, I've asked people what they recommend. My favourite question in a vape shop, if I'm hanging around, if I'm just in a vape shop when I want to buy something, because I kind of like going in and to see what other people are doing, and I'll watch them get a new customer, and one of the big questions in the UK is new customer. Hi, I really want to start. I smoke, but I really want to stop vaping. How many cigarettes do you smoke a day? I smoke 20. Okay, so you're probably looking at a 6. What the fuck? Well, there's no science in what you just said. It's fucking nonsense.
It happens all the time, brother. It's not just in the UK. It's everywhere.
Phil is a big advocate of that, not lowering your nick, vaping less. He's always pushed that, and people don't get it at all.
We get criticized a lot from vapors because we still vape. I mean, people call us dinosaurs because we vape 12 milligrams. I still vape 12 milligrams. But I think that if you look at the relative harm, and this is straight from a scientist, not me saying it, but it makes a lot of sense. The harm in vaping, if it's 95% less harmful, right? It's based on a threshold. So the more you vape, obviously, the consumption raises that level of harm. The only unknown really in liquid is flavors and VG. That's the unknown, right? So we don't know by you vaping 15, 20 mils a day of 30% flavored liquid, like most of the market, hyped liquid is right now. With heavy VG, what it's gonna do. Again, I'm sure it's much less harmful than smoking. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing, but
I could keep saying it. That's fine. I vape 2 mil a day, and it's fine. So
a balance though is extremely needed, and balance is missing from this industry, and it has been missing since 2015. What do I mean by balance? If you're going to go into a shop and they have 100 sub-ohm tanks, they should have at least 20 MTL tanks as well too. If you're going to have this hype juice, you should also have that single flavor, strawberry 18 milligram, cherry 18 milligram. It's very, very hard to tell a 60-year-old, hey, how about you try Vic's donut pastry cheesecake gourmet, topped with caramel sauce and whipped cream. People look at you like, what are you talking about? I want to quit smoking. I don't want to get diabetes, So I think it's important to have that balance, and we're missing that. So yes, you as vapors, what you want, right? Meaning the advanced vapors, the hobbyists, we know what we want. We know what to vape. But keep in mind that one day you were a smoker as well too. How did you think back then? Don't forget about it because now you're a vapor. Think about how that person reacts to the product and what you should be recommending. What nicotine strengths, what product to put in their hands to quit smoking. And don't allow yourself and your preferences to influence somebody that's trying to quit smoking. It's very, very important.
I often make the same joke because I'm quite an irritating person. When I've got a customer in the shop and I'm talking to them and going through why you should vape or whatever, and trying to find something that they want, they'll tell me that their friend has told them to get X, I need to get 3 milligram, I need to buy this. And I'll say to them, listen, I'm really annoying. I'm really annoying. But speak to me 25 minutes and I never ever stop. It just never ever ends. I can sell you 3 milligram. You're going to see this face more often. You can half the amount of times you see me by doubling the nicotine strength. That's the best way I can say to you. You can quarter it if you times that by. Okay, fuck it. No, I'm gonna try the 12 milligram. See, that's the best thing you can do. No one wants.
Right. It raises their chances to be successful. Okay, so we're talking about percentages.
100%.
What if somebody? I would love to have this data, by the way, John. It's something that I've been craving for the last 4 years. I've been saying, how many people went into a vape shop, got 3 milligram in a Baby Beast tank to start? Again, not bashing the Baby Beast. Whatever sub-ohm tank. But generally, don't forget, in 2016, 2017, the Smoke Alien with the Baby Beast tank was a starter kit. Again, you can criticize me all you want, but I'm fucking right. Okay? So you go into a store, they sell you a Smoke Alien, they sell you a Baby Beast tank, they'll sell you 2 18650 batteries, they sell you a charger, obviously, because you need to charge your batteries because it's a piece of shit and it might blow up, and they give you a gallon of 3 milligram. Okay? So you got 120, 130 pounds, whatever you currency there is, right? And you go home and you start sucking on this thing like you're a baby attached to your mom's titty because it's not satisfying to you, right? And then you're like, fuck, this does not work. So then this is the data that I want to see. How many people did that happen to? And then how many people did they tell within their circle, meaning friends, family, coworkers?
Doesn't work.
I spent $130 on this thing. Vaping didn't work for me. That's the kind of data that we should be looking at. I think increasing like my stores in Greece are very, very new vapor oriented. And I'm very, very successful. But my staff to work.
If you do say so yourself.
I say it because it's true.
It's true.
I know. No, it's a very British thing to take the piss out of anyone who says that.
Again, I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I'm trying to give I'm trying to give you tools to be successful.
Yeah.
To work for me, I don't care how many years you've been vaping. You're going to buy into my philosophy. You're going to spend an hour with a new customer. You're going to give them a 25 euro device with a 12 milligram bottle, a 10 mil bottle to start off, and you're not going to sell them 100. And I guarantee, I have been in my stores where 45-year-old guys come in. It's like, I tried to buy an 100 euro setup and the employee did not let me. But guess what? He quit smoking. Then what he did is he upgraded. He got another tank. And guess what? He brought me his cousin and his brother because it worked for him. And he is living proof that vaping works. So my business does well organically. I don't get $100 the first day, but I get 300 over a period of 6 months. And this is how businesses are successful. A lot of the shops, they're like, I want to make this big sale today, right? And then they don't see the customer again.
Yeah.
Vaping was exactly like that for myself, where when I started, I was given the Daft tank, the 3 milligram.
Yeah.
And I kept on vaping. But the only reason I kept on vaping is I never quit smoking.
Yep.
I smoked and vaped for years. It was only when, and I can't remember who it was, someone put me onto higher neck juice. And then without even thinking about it, the cigarettes just faded away.
Yep, 100%.
You're absolutely right, man. And listen, I'm telling you, guys, if vaping to be around, and we don't want to give it over to big tobacco because they're coming up with products that are clearly targeted to smokers, we need to go back to the concept of trying to help smokers.
Yeah.
Okay. And make products desirable, look good, attract women, attract minorities. These are segments of customers. Vaping is geared towards 18 to 25 white males. All the marketing is on that. That's it. You know, when this is the new kit that we put out, the Z50, right? The Cool Fire. This is the new generation Cool Fire that we put out. When we looked at this design, we sat down. We were in China last year, and we said, how can we make this where a woman comes in the store and can separate her eye? That's how women shop, by the way. Her eyes.
Oh, don't do that.
Can be gravitated towards it
for
her to get interested in vaping, right? We need to have products out there that are like this. Is this for you? No. I mean, I use it. I take it on my motorcycle and stuff like that. But
we're doing a section later. It's called "Why Don't Gays Like Big Drip Tips?" It's a big thing.
But I think it's important to bring all those people in, Black people as well too. We in America, Black people smoke a lot. Why should they not discover harm reduction? Why are we excluding them from our marketing and bringing? I've never been to a vape shop. I've seen 2 or 3 Black guys at vape shows my entire 10 years of vaping. Why? And women, they're discouraged of coming. It's just, I think that these are huge issues.
It's a lot. We've got a fucking massive.
Instagram's a nightmare for that.
Yeah, and we've got a big issue when it comes to industry, and we go to the shows. My wife's come to meet me at shows before, and it's uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's uncomfortable.
My wife will do 30 minutes in a show. That's it. She's ready to go.
It is like a shitty teenage boy magazine.
Isn't it embarrassing though?
It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah. It's part of an industry that's being criticized based on the public perception.
But again, I think it's just because the immaturity of the industry.
Sure, I get that. You open up a magazine, right, a vape magazine, and all you see is models and clouds and tattoos and beards and all that. And get nothing against. I got tattoos myself, and I know a lot of bearded, gauged guys in this industry that are extremely nice people. But the public perception is what I'm talking about here. Whether you're a good person or not, is how the public looks at you. So why can't we even balance that? Why can't you have a 55-year-old lady in a magazine that's vaping, empty on?
We're lucky.
That kind of a marketing where people look at it, it's like, oh, vaping is not a cult. Vaping is not, Waco, Texas, waiting to happen. We need to be able to balance that.
I got a phone call from a great guy who watches the show, Alex, who works for a newspaper. I even say the newspaper. And one of the feature writers written a feature on Vape Jam in London, and he'd done it double-page spread, and it had been published on the Sunday. And I got a phone call on the Wednesday saying, "Can you talk to him and explain how it really works?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." So I spoke to him for about 2 hours, where every time he said something and I contradicted him, he said, "So there's a guy in a shed and he makes a thing," and I went, no, that's never happened. No, that's not true. And I had to literally go through every single thing. And so he said, "So The main thing, though, everyone's got a beard. I said, no. There's dentists, doctors, lawyers, everybody. You're falling it for just writing a fucking article to make it look
buy
like
into the marketing.
No, well, the money doesn't. It's such a difficult thing, and it becomes. When we've done shows before, it almost becomes impossible when you're walking around in there. I'm trying to say to my wife, it's a serious industry. Okay, yeah, there's a woman on stilts with a bra on and her pants. It's a serious industry. It becomes
right. Completely separate question.
Go,
Dimitri. When Corona started, when it happened, there was some very different reactions amongst the YouTube scene, the vape YouTube scene. Certain reviewers telling people to panic buy sub-ohm coils and wire and things like that, and saying that China will be shut down for months, they won't get back to production, all that sort of thing. There was all these different opinions flying around. Mm-hmm. And it was very hard to sort of gauge what was really happening in China during that time and how long they would be back. Obviously, you have an incredibly close relationship with innokin. Mm-hmm. How did it really pan out over there for the likes of innokin?
So China was shut down. The factories were shut down for almost 3 weeks. But that was in combination, right? Don't forget we had Chinese New Year before it.
Yep.
So it was already shut down for 14 days for their Chinese New Year. So it really put production back. I'm not #panic porn. I am not on that team. I would never tell people, because you're always going to find products. You might not find your particular coil, in one place, you'll find it somewhere else, or you might have to use something else. But there might be a little shortage on the market, like we saw here with Falcon coils in America, whatever. But overall, as far as product is concerned, distributors were stocked. It was right before Chinese New Year. Everybody had tons of product inside. New products obviously got put behind. That we expected that. And to be honest with you, I think it was a good fucking thing. Slowing down new products coming out, I think is a good thing for the market. It gives opportunity for vape shops to sell their stock, distributors to clear out their stock, and it doesn't force that shiny-titus of vapors of buying something new every week that they're going to put in a shelf behind them afterwards. So the overall closing was 3 weeks. Then when we got started back up, it was limited amount of people working. That's because keep in mind that Shenzhen, where everything is manufactured in China, is literally a city with no people. Everybody that comes to Shenzhen comes there to work. They don't actually live there. So they come from villages around China, sometimes having to travel 14 to 16 hours by bus or train to get to Shenzhen to work. They stay there in the factories. They have dorms. They work, and then they go back home, or they send money back home. This is how China works. So what happened is when China did open up, people that were in the villages could not leave because transportation was banned to slow down the COVID spread. So people couldn't actually get to the factory, to Shenzhen, to work in the factory. So when it opened up, they prioritized. So for us, it was Z coils. Like everybody was making Z coils. Everybody was there to get caught up on the orders, was to make sure that we supply the consumables to the distros into the shops that were running low on those supplies. And as more people were coming in, and under some requirements from the government, they had to have like a emergency management place, somebody to screen them coming in. What are you going to do if somebody gets COVID, stuff like that. And if you met all those requirements, then the Chinese government, the province, would let you open up. And now things are getting back to normal. Like our release date, which is tomorrow for the Z50 and the Aries, was originally planned to happen the end of February. Okay. So literally, it's 2 months really that everything got pushed back and things are starting to get back to normal. The difficult thing that we're going to have now is that a lot of the small businesses are not going to survive. So now that's going to change a little bit the dynamic as well too. Distros don't have the cash flow. Cash flow is a gear, right? So when you have a big distro and you bring products from all the companies in, you're depending on vape shops to buy, right? And the money comes in, so that wheel keeps turning. You have cash flow, you buy more product from China. Now with the vape shops being shut down, some of them going out of business, some of them opening up curbside only. A lot of people gravitated to the internet to get their supplies simply because they couldn't go to the store. And then they're like, oh, this is pretty fucking convenient. I'm not going to go back to the store again. So distros now are having a hard time going back to China and say, well, I'm going to buy, $100,000 like I used to do that. So that's going to slow down even more. And I think what you're going to see is, I think we're going to go back a little bit to the early decade of vaping, meaning that a lot of the smaller Chinese companies, they're going to disappear, and you're going to see the big guys, to take over and stick around, or maybe absorb a few of the smaller companies as well. And we're going to see that in the vape shop market arena as well too. Small vape shops are not going to survive. Some of them consolidate, or big chains are going to grow bigger.
Yeah, the big websites are going to dominate for a little while.
I thought one of the things that was really interesting is something we do as humans, which is we project our own situation on other people constantly. So when we looked at China, anybody who's ever travelled in Asia sorry, not just Asia, many countries in the world. In the UK, it's very, very normal. If I asked anybody from Britain whether they've been to Cornwall or Devon, and they've been in the south, or they've been to X in the north, everybody has. If you're in China, a lot of the people in the breakout zones, if you actually looked at the spread of the virus, it was very limited. But the reason it was very limited is because they've never ever been to any of these other places. That is not a thing. People don't do that. They don't travel like we do. There's no reason to do it. It's mad.
Mostly just the elite. You have to have money.
So when you watch even your masterful president, fuckwit Womble leader, he couldn't get his head around. He was thinking it was some magical control system, or there must be an inside thing, but it wasn't. People don't. Where the fuck are you going to go? It doesn't make any sense. You've completely missed it. When we were, I know from traveling. I remember being in India a few years ago. We were in one place and we were going to another, and people were dreaming of going there. They were 30 and they'd never been.
Yeah, it's different.
500 miles.
Those countries, and keep in mind, China is a communist country. Forget about that. I mean, we're saying
all the good things.
But if the governor or the president says you're going to do this, you better fucking do it. I mean, there's no. Yeah, they welded downtowns. I heard, like literally welded them down where nobody could move.
They nailed it. I mean, the stats show they absolutely nailed it.
Yes.
They literally sold
and
it. And
here we are with Netflix and porn free on fucking, and we're complaining. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I work from home, so it didn't bother me as much. Aside from the fact that I'm stuck at home with 3 women, my wife and my 2 daughters that drive me fucking nuts. But aside from that, and not my traveling, I work from home, so it didn't bother me that much. But I see people complaining. I get it. I mean, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you can't go out and have a cocktail and a dinner, but compared to what go out there see what's happening in other countries where literally they're living in. I've seen houses in China that are built from dirt. Where people come to Shenzhen. I've made a lot of friendships from factory workers. They're making $300 a month, and I asked them, like, why are you here in Shenzhen working? He's like, here's a picture of my house, and it's literally a house made of dirt. It's built with dirt. There's no concrete. There's nothing, right? Yeah. So I think we should be very, very thankful for what we have, and it's not a big deal. Stay home for a couple of months, it'll get over with, and then
all we've got winning for us at the moment in the UK. People kind of go, "Why are people acting like pricks?" And if you're not a prick, you have to go, "We don't live in America." And they go, "Good point, high five."
Yeah. And listen, I've seen a lot of people get into fights over this because there's 2 teams. There's team open up. And then home.
Well, it's over here. It's left and right. It's become now. It's just an insane mess of.
And here's a pet peeve of mine. Like vapors do this a lot. Like if you post something politically, I've kind of backed off the last 3-4 months. But if you post something politically, all of a sudden, every contribution that you've done for vaping for the last 10 years that I've been an ambassador for this fucking industry is gone out the window just because I posted because we disagree on that. I will tell you the magic rule of thumb. As long as I agree 75% with you, I can get along with you. There's no way I can agree with you 100%. There's no way.
Yeah.
Right? So don't be on one team or other fight. Okay, this is your position. This is my position. We can still be respectful and move along,
Should we shift to, I've got the questions up.
Sure.
Yes, we did in our Facebook group.
We have questions?
In Facebook group, we've got a few questions from the Facebook group that we'll do. None of the insane ones.
Please, I want insane as well.
No, you're not getting them.
Questions. I love those.
Maybe it was that we're just fucking too cringy. We're not going to tell you. First one's, I'm going to go with Russell. Okay. I'm going to say, what's the difference between your tools and Phil's tools?
Okay, so my tool, it's a little bit of a joke. Okay, because me and Phil bring entertainment to vaping as well too. Like our bromance is known, and this is how
legendary.
We are in life, by the way. So the idea was we wanted to have a build tool inside. So Phil's tool is 2.5 millimeter rod on one side, 3mm rod on the other side, just a regular build tool. Mine, what I used to do when I first started building my K-Fun in 2013, I wanted to do a perfect space coil. So instead of using, tools, I would get a screw.
Yeah,
I would wrap the wire around the screw. And then I did that video back in 2013 on YouTube, and it kind of got adapted. And then you unscrew, and then you have a perfectly spaced coil. So I did the same thing. I had the CNC shop in China machine a tool, basically a rod, and put 3mm threads on both sides if you're left-handed or right-handed, easy for you. And then you can just wrap your coil around that, position it into your deck, and then just unscrew the tool, and then you have a perfectly spaced coil. So it makes it easy peasy, oh so squeezy.
Yep.
Perfect.
And by the way, my tool is bigger. That other, so I make sure that's it's a fact. It's proven.
Got one from the Vaping Postman. How orange is Phil in real life?
He's not very. Yeah, he's tan. He's tan. Phil for a lot of years had a tanning bed when he lived in New York. So he would go down on the tanning bed, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, especially before going to shows. He always likes to have that creamy, robust color. Now he lives in Florida, so he's in the sun all the time.
It's real now.
He's not orange, but he and I look very, very pasty next to him as well, too, which sucks.
That's why I always stand next to Richard.
Yeah, that works.
Richard glows in the dark.
And because I'm short as well. So I get a lot of people just sidling up to me.
You've gone proper white. You've got nothing either. What's Scotty's question? I've got another. Scotty's question is: could a 3D version 2 ever happen?
Oh, he's talking about the triple Dimi's Dream Dripper. This was like a lot of people think it was a collaboration between me and Advocacy, which is a Greek modder that made the
we know Advocacy. Yeah.
So when the innokin UCAN came out, does anybody remember that?
Yeah, I remember the UCAN.
Yes.
Right, the little innokin UCAN came out. You squeeze it. I was sitting at my desk, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and I was looking at. I was actually, I was dripping my HH357, and I was like, man, there might be something here. So I got on a video chat with Michali from Advocacy, and I was like, what if we use the UCAN type of system in an atomizer?
Oh, I know, I do remember.
I remember it. It's where the deck plunged into the.
Squeeze it, and the deck would. Originally, the idea was to put like a squonker and pull the liquid on the top cap and have it when you squeeze it to just drop directly onto the coil. But there was a lot of issues trying to machine that. So the way that we designed it is 2 holes in the deck. The liquid would sit on the bottom, and then you'd squeeze the top cap, and liquid would go up, touch the coils, get them saturated, and it would come back down and suck the excess liquid. Unfortunately, Advocacy is not manufacturing. They're not modding anymore. They're not making any devices. I hardly believe that we would ever come to a version 2, but I don't know if I should show this to you.
Oh,
you definitely should.
Yeah, as soon as you ask the question, you should.
Let me see where I have it. Just a second.
I've got.
Okay. Here.
Oh, okay.
I will show you a design that never made it to the market. This is when we work for Kangaroo. This is how my mind thinks. This is
worth £1 million.
So you look at this. This is an RDA.
Whoa.
The whole thing is an RDA.
I don't think anybody has ever seen this before. This was a prototype made. And so just to show you, there's a deck, right? You can build 2 coils, very, very small holes. This is back then when we were using, 30 gauge wire to build. But look at this. If you push it up, there's a bottle on the inside. So you just squeeze the bottle, and it would shoot liquid. So it was basically a squonker without having to have a squonker.
A squonker inside the atomizer.
For you guys to see it. It's really look at it.
I'm gonna squeezable tank.
I'm going to attempt the next question, but you're gonna have to read it off the screen.
Yes. He says I should say how much I like the new Ohm Show. I like it. So anyway, so you just squeeze it. This bottle, you squeeze the 10 ml bottle, and it shoots the liquid up. And then if you don't have a squonker mod, it was
that's nifty.
At the time I thought I was fucking brilliant. Here's the bottle, comes out from the deck. And then you take that whole thing and you put it on your mod, and it, of course, looked like it was huge. But yeah,
like a lightsaber.
But it could have gone in a side by side.
Like fucking crazy. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't think we're safe to do it. But I do want to put an RDA out. I do want to put an MTL RDA out.
I'd like to see one that's not fuck ugly.
Yeah, really, sort of high end inspired. It would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely
And
would.
MTL RDA might inspire me to sort of bring some of my squonkers out of retirement.
Absolutely.
I think we should bring you out of retirement and do some fucking
some mod. Yeah,
it's very hard to explain my MTL. I like a very wet, saturated vape. Yeah. Like I like to put all the vapor in my mouth before I inhale it inside. And it's very hard to get that from a good dripper in that style of vaping. And I think there's other people out there that would probably enjoy that as well too. You know, a lot of the MTLers went into hiding because it was not popular anymore. A lot of them went to DIY liquid because they couldn't find any
lots and lots.
A lot of them wouldn't stop going to the stores because the stores never had any product for them as well too. So they kind of created their own little thing, and they kind of pulled away from the community. I can't tell you. Of course, we're older than you guys, me and Phil, but I can't tell you how many times we've gotten messages or emails from people saying, you know, I really wanted to come to the show to meet you, but I don't feel comfortable because I'm vaping on an ego, you know, and I'm 50 years old, and you know, I don't feel comfortable in that setting. That's unacceptable for our industry, but guys,
that sucks.
Think about it.
We've had this, we kind of in the chat. A few people mentioned that, and we've really tried to encourage people over the. We're coming up for 5 years of doing live shows. It kind of we're better live. Come and have a drink, and come and see us. We've never ever had a show with been and not been greeted by a mass of people.
We always make a big deal in the group that don't worry about the show, what's going on. Just come and see us. Just come. We'll only be in the show half the time.
Nearest the event, come find us.
That's great. I love it because there are some people that are divas. Me and Phil we love interacting with people. We sit down, we'll talk with anybody. I think it's a fantastic. I've seen divas in this industry. It's sickening, but I mean, literally, you know, there's kids that unbox toys that have 1 million subscribers, bro. You know, I mean, you're not that popular, you know. But the interaction is very, very important to me. Mostly, what's really important for me is like if somebody comes and tells you, you know, you helped me quit smoking. You know, I quit smoking because I saw your video in 2012 or whatever. Now I have a business or whatever. You know, those stories are very, very powerful, and it also grounds you, and it keeps reminding you of why you started to do this and why you're still in this industry. Listen, there's a lot of people that. If you've gone through what me and Phil have gone, we probably would have left this industry. You know, we have been, the people have been trying to drag us into drama, into controversy, talked a lot of shit about us, but we're still here, you know, and we're still producing product. We're very, very proud of what we've accomplished. We sell our product in 29 countries now. We're producing over 600,000 coils a month. I mean, we've done very, very well for us, and we're still staying true to that, and we're still helping, and we're still advocating and activating.
There are some fantastic people in the. I mean, obviously, you're working and have worked with Matt Cully. We know Matt's a friend of the show and has been for a long time. He's a great guy. The other person I was going to mention was Sam, the Vaping Bogan from Australia.
Absolutely, yeah, great guy.
Incredible guy, and can do the show up front, you know, in a live situation and be the down to earth and the totally human person.
The bad thing is just a handful, John. You know, if the entire YouTube community, but it doesn't get views. You know, advocacy is not sexy, bro. That's what it boils down to.
It's true.
You know, it just does not get views, and I get it, I understand, but it's very, very important for other people to step up as well too. I think if it was a collaboration effort, I'm in a group chat with a bunch of reviewers, and sometimes, you know, very rarely I'll do it, but I'll drop a line. Huh?
I didn't mention Toddlington, I will say.
Yeah, Mark was quite nice.
Legend. He's like, I talk to Mark every day. I annoy the shit out of that man. It is my daily job.
Sometimes in that group chat, I'll put a link and I'll say, hey guys, can you promote this as something serious or whatever? You know, 1 or 2 people will do it. I get it. I mean, I understand it.
I'm in that group chat.
But there should be a portion dedicated, especially if you're making a living, like a lot of YouTubers are making a living from this. You should fight for it, and you should be part of the organization. You should contribute financially into the advocacy. You should do your part to inform your viewers of something that is happening, even if it's not sexy. If you do it consistently and you do it all the time and everybody does it, then it becomes part of something that the viewer will be expected to see. If only a few channels do it, of course it's not going to get any views because somebody's going to turn it off and go look at the new Shiny Titus, mod that came out.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we out of questions, John?
Did we answer all the questions?
I think we are out of questions, yeah.
Yeah, well, pretty much out of time as well.
Oh, I was just going to add one last thing.
No big tobacco questions? Bam. Have we put that to rest now, finally?
I was going to add one last thing for the people who are watching live. This is all right. So I'm gonna sell off the back of Richard. I know. I was. That's all right. Richard's favourite liquid at the moment, from Just Add a Nick, can only be nuts. And if you were to buy concentrates because you are DIYers and you wanted to go and buy some concentrates and you went to Just Add a Nick and you put can only be nuts. There's 50 bottles on the site that I put there, and if you put, I'm going to give you the price as if you were furloughed, so you've got 20% off, so it's 80% of the usual cost, and the code is Rich's Fur, so it's RICHSFUR, all lowercase. I never do this. RICHSFUR. It will take 20%.
A rare Just Add
Richard's Nuts would have been a better name, and then you get Cannoli Nuts with it for 20%.
I couldn't do It's Just Nuts because of the way the program works, but yeah, it's not. Yeah.
You tried. That's what we like to know.
Rich's Fur. If you go over there, you got 20% off. There's only 50 bottles with 20% off.
And go order 2 bottles now. I don't even like the liquid.
You don't even have to.
Good
that's the worst. When you were talking, because I even know, I didn't just check. You definitely know the name. When you were chatting earlier, we were talking about Americans and advocacy and people who have been through the whole thing and done all the testing and stuff like that. I've worked with John Nathan now for 4 years. John is a total tossback. Everybody knows this to be true, but he has also done the work and has started it off as a mixer in the back of his fucking house. Yeah. And it's like, he has the taste buds. He's one of those arseholes.
Yeah, he is. He's
making weed now.
I know he's making. It's totally true. He keeps saying to me links like, can you post this? No, I fucking can't. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I think John's a great guy. I've known him for a very, very long time. It's very funny how many liquids stay on the very, very few liquids stay on the market for longevity. Yeah. Liquid is like milk. It has an expiration date. Like you drop something now, 3 months later. In my stores in Greece, I see this all the time. Like I have these tobacco flavors that I make in Canada for like 3 years. They've made it because they're transitioning e-liquid. So you like tobacco, caramel tobacco, or regular tobacco, whatever, those will stay. But anything that comes out that's hot, it's just you drop it, and then you have to be very, very careful on how you order because as soon as that train passes, you're stuck with it. So
you end up sitting on stock for a year.
It's good and it's bad. I think the good is that it always keeps vapors interested, which is good. Somebody comes in, it's like, what's new at the store? So it brings business back. It's good from that perspective. But if you're a bad business person, it can get you in trouble as well too, because at the end of the year, you're going to look at that shelf in the bag and you're like, oh shit. I got all this stock and I can't sell anything.
We didn't mention your juice properly either. Your collaboration with Matt Cully. Is it out in the UK?
It's not. It's just at dashvapes.com right now. The unsalted line was designed. Here, I'm going to tell you what the problem with Europe is. So the unsalted line is a play on the word, right? Because salt came out. It's the most hopping bullshit, whatever it is. I don't know. It's just the new hype thing. I'm a freebase guy. Okay. So we said we're going to take a play on words and call it unsalted. So it was designed coming into the market, which now, by the way, everybody's doing again. But anyway, it came into the market with, up to 20 milligram nicotine, freebase nicotine, designed for pods and MTL style vaping. Okay, 50-50 blend, and good ratio PG flavoring inside the liquid. The problem is that it's designed for high nic vapors. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to put it in the UK, I'm going to have to put it in a short feel, or I'm going to have to put it in a 10 mil.
Yeah.
Short feel, you cannot get 12 milligrams out of it.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't make any sense for me to put it. So I've been trying to see if I could do flavor shots for it, like a 30 mil of the flavor shot, and then let the consumer, build it a DIY. But then again, that takes away from the recipe. A recipe is designed to be like this ratio, so it can all taste very, very good. Yeah. So I'm very, very torn on that. And then 10 meals, France they sell millions of 10 mils. But the UK, I don't know. I mean, you're in the liquid business. You know, they don't move. Greece is the same. You know, 10 mils move for the people.
We do ours totally different. But I do 100 mil up to 16 milligram.
Yeah.
I do 100 mil liquid.
So that's 16. A long fill, right? It's a long fill that you can make.
Yeah. So effectively, we build the kits from scratch every time.
Yeah.
So talk to me.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can make it happen. But anyways, flavors, cool citrus is mine, which is mentholated, you know, tangerine, citrus vape, and Phil's is watermelon peach, which was the most popular in his B line when he did that. And then Matt Cully's is small lips blueberry morning. That's what I'm calling it. It's just
oh,
poor Matt and his tiny
I love
face.
Cully. Cully's not American.
I mean,
he's British.
Looks like a squirrel. I mean, it's very, very tiny lips. Can't help that, you know.
Also, very last thing, tell everyone when they can watch the Smoker Show as well.
Yeah, okay. So Smoker Show Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, of course, with Phil on Phil's channel. And then every other Tuesday. So one Tuesday we do the Smoker Show. We just did it this past Tuesday. And then the other Tuesdays we started the DP Show. And DP stands for Dimi and Phil. Okay? It doesn't stand for anything else for you. It's opinions from both ends. So what we decided to do is it's like a variety show. It's not just vaping. We have guests on. And we're going to do dual reviews. Now that things are heating back up, we'll get the product in and then we'll review it live at the same time. And then you're going to get his opinion and my opinion, you know, live on the show. Instead of just having one review, you can get two opinions of a product that comes out. So every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, there's a lot of content on YouTube. It's the Smoker Show is the most important part for me, though.
Yeah. We've
helped a lot of people quit smoking illegally because we're sending them product we shouldn't by FDA, but we'll continue to do it because we think it's very, very crucial. But there's tons of information on there. This past Tuesday, we did an update, what to buy in 2020, and we covered every possible vapor product that you can encounter from gas station, smoke shop, hookah shop, head shop, vape shop, convenience store, anything that you're going to find and what the pros and the cons. And we put like a little light marker, green, yellow, or red. If you should go for this, be cautioned for this, or don't buy this if you're starting out. And we put these slides on tasteyourjuice.com, which is Phil's website, and you can go download them. You know, as a vapor, sometimes you get bored talking about vaping to a smoker. Toss them this, and then they can go through it and get some information on it. A lot of great content on the Smoker Show for new people.
I've always wanted to do something like that, like almost like a bargain hunting video.
Yeah,
where, like I just search out deals on websites and I say I genuinely think this is a great dripper, and it's now only $10, or you know, I've always wanted to do it, but I've never quite worked out how to pitch it without it looking really salesy. I don't know.
Listen, sales are part. I mean, people understand. Sales are part. I don't understand why that taboo was back in. I'm gonna tell you a story that I have not told very, very publicly. In 2014, Richard, I told Phil we need to put our names on these fucking products. We're making these guys millions because we did R&D back then for Aspire and Kangaroo and all. Everything was in the back.
Yeah.
Right. I told Phil, I was like, we need to put our fucking names on an atomizer, and he's like, well, you know, I don't know what people are gonna say, and there was just like a taboo. Yeah. Next thing you know, every fucking reviewer has an atomizer with their name on it. And here we are, we're sitting with godfathers of vaping, and we got shit. You know, Graham started putting it, everybody started doing it. So people understand once you get into this like we do, you have to make a living. I had sold my restaurant. I couldn't do what I was doing before and what I'm doing now. I had to get involved in the industry. As long as you stay true to your word and what you're doing, I don't think people would take that. Of course, you're going to have one or two trolls. I mean, I had a troll in Scotland called me Big Tobacco 3 years ago. I'm selling out the Big Tobacco. And listen, let me tell you something. If Big Tobacco comes and buys the Zenith, I'll be the first one to come out here on YouTube on the Ohm Show. I'm going to say, fuck everyone. You're not going to see me again. I just, I'm going to be honest with you.
We've said that. Yeah.
You think that anybody would say no to that?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Get the fuck out of here.
For $1 million, I'll say vaping's bad.
All I'm saying is just be honest. There's nothing wrong with being honest. Hey, you're making a few bucks off an affiliate link. If the other person is saving money and you have a good product, what's the big deal? I don't understand.
We had the opinion in the industry.
Fake, like, oh, look at me, feel sorry for me. Go here, donate to my Patreon. This is fucking ridiculous. That's begging like virtual. I see this at the traffic light when I pull up with my car. Just get out there and be honest. This is a business for me. I'm gonna get and do what I'm gonna do. And if you like watching the channel, continue to do it. And I think people appreciate that these days.
Yeah.
I kind of we had a like.
This is the last thing, John.
Last thing,
deep into overtime.
There was a moment before
I charge extra, by the way.
we had a couple of American guests a little while ago who I won't mention, and this was definitely, you can tell how old it was. We were talking about the Juul, and I said, well, they're going to sell it. They're going to sell the shares, and they both said, no. They have got a lot of principles. I tell you what, a lot of principles goes to the fucking wall when there's a man with an attaché case full of dollars. It's not happening.
John, Juul was a company that was designed like that. The business plan was designed. Let's put the product, make it popular, and let's sell it out. By the way, I can tell you now, I've signed a couple NDAs in the past. I've seen business plans like that have asked me and Phil to get involved. They develop a product, and it has a timeline. Like, we're going to make this product. We're going to make it. This is how we're going to sell it. In 18 months, we want to buy out. This happens all the time. It's just business. I don't blame Juul for taking the money, but they're under investigation from the FCC now, and I've been called as a witness on that case as well too. So you might see me in court.
It was the amusement of no. They're like Ben and Jerry's, like really hippie. I was like, Ben and Jerry's sold out.
You know why? Because probably those Americans had affiliate links in their videos. And there's quite a few YouTube reviewers at the time had affiliate links to the Juul in their videos. I'm just saying, coincidence. But let's not forget about that, okay? Yeah. They never got called big tobacco. Of course, me and Phil, were called big. And I still don't have a fucking closed pod on the market. Isn't that ironic? Like, it's 2020 and I still don't have a closed pod on the market. I'm still developing open vapor delicious products.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you very much for coming on, Dimitri.
Thank
always
you very
a pleasure.
much.
Hey, man, thanks, guys. Appreciate you for having me.
Custodian of the industry. Thank you for coming on. Everybody watching, don't forget, smash that like button. It makes no difference, but it's really important.
It pays for hair products, basically. So just keep doing it.
So just smash that like button. Cheers. Thanks to Dimi for coming on. My Aries 2 is in the post, so hopefully I'll get my hands on it in the next couple of days.
Yes. If you need any help with that review, let me know, by the way, Richard.
Just literally just email me everything you want me to say, and I'll just say that.
Dirty money.
Yes, so very, very good. Thanks for coming on, and cheers to everyone watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next week.